So welcome back to part 2 of this video series on 1 Corinthians 15. In this video I want to answer two questions. Question number one is, why am I still not convinced? I mean, why, given all this great evidence of 1 Corinthians 15, do I still not believe? And second point I want to make is I really think this whole debate completely misses the point, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Okay, so as a point of departure, let me just do this. Okay, so watch very carefully, right? Nothing on my sleeve. See? Look very carefully, okay? Ready? Yes, it's true! I can pull keys out of my ear! So, yeah, so do you really believe that I can, materialize keys out of my ear and pull? I mean, you're 14, but I bet you, even when you were like 4 years old, you probably wouldn't believe that I could really just mysteriously make keys just materialize out of thin air. Okay, now why is this? Okay, I mean, you saw it with your own eyes, right? This is better than, some dusty manuscript that's been lying around, right? We actually have video proof, live caught on camera that I can actually materialize keys out of thin air and pull them out of my ear. Okay, so yeah, why don't you believe this? Okay, let me explain this back at the chalkboard. Okay, I'm not being facetious here. This is a very serious point. Okay, I want to explain the formal structure of why you don't believe that I can pull a key out of my ear. All right, so here's how it works. So there's something to be explained that you just saw, right? You just saw what looked like me pulling a key out of my ear. So here's a hypothesis that will explain it. This is my claim. I can actually materialize a key out of thin air and pull it out of my ear. And as evidence to support hypothesis number one, I produce a video of me doing it. Now, notice, and this is a very important point, okay? The evidence that I presented actually does support hypothesis number one in the following sense, right? If hypothesis number one is true, then there would be no problems for me to produce a video of me actually doing it, right? So the evidence does support the hypothesis. We have to admit this, right? But you still don't believe hypothesis number one, right? Well, what would it take to convince you of hypothesis number one? What if Peter saw me doing the same thing, right? What if I got 12 righteous men together and did the same thing for them? What if James saw the video? What if I did this in front of 500 people? Would you believe me then? Would you believe that I could actually make a key materialize? No. Now, why don't you believe this? Well, here's the thing. Hypothesis one can explain what you saw, but there's another hypothesis. Hypothesis number two. Randy just taped a key behind his ear and reached around and grabbed it. Now here's the problem. Hypothesis two explains the evidence just as well as hypothesis one does, but it's far, far, far more likely to actually be true than hypothesis number one. That's why you don't believe it. More likely to explain the data. So let's apply this to the Jesus Christ came back from the dead case, right? Okay, we have hypothesis number one is he actually came back from the dead, just like Paul believed it. Okay, so hypothesis number two. Here's another hypothesis, and there's actually some evidence for this, right? I mean, you know about the Gospel of Thomas, which is purportedly written by Jesus Christ's twin, and the Syrian church has a tradition that Jesus Christ actually did have a twin brother. So let's take this. Let's go off from that and propose another hypothesis. Jesus Christ, nobody knew it, but Jesus Christ actually was a twin. He had a twin brother that looked exactly like him, but nobody knew this. He kept it a secret. And he was a magician. He went around from town to town doing all kinds of magical tricks that nobody else could do because he was a twin. So for example, walking on the water. One twin got on one side of the lake, and all of a sudden the other twin just appeared on the other side of the lake, as if you walked across the water. Things like this, right? So when the Romans came to kill Jesus, they actually just killed one of the twins. And the other twin was actually still alive, unbeknownst to the Romans. This other twin appeared to Peter. This other twin appeared to the 12. This other twin appeared to Paul and the 500 other people. And that's why everybody believes that Jesus Christ came back from the dead, right? So you're probably the only 14-year-old in the world that I would actually recommend this to, but You're pretty smart, so you're ready for this, okay? Go look up David Hume and his treatise on miracles. And, read that book. It'll change your life. But my point here is not to destroy your faith. My point is not to say that you shouldn't believe this stuff. My point isn't even really to argue against Christianity per se, right? My point is this, okay? My point is this whole debate is missing the point, right? The claim of Christianity is not that some guy came back from the dead, not that some corpse was reanimated, not that dead meat became live meat, right? This is not the claim of Christianity, all right? As far as I can understand it, the real claim that Christianity makes is that God so identified with the human condition, with the sufferings that we go through, with the pains that we have, with the terrors of old age and the terrors of death that we have. God so identified with humanity that in the person of Jesus Christ, he fused himself with humanity and decided to suffer with us every possible suffering that humanity can undergo, because he had so identified with us and indeed so loved us. And not only that, but in the person of Jesus Christ, he had victory over all of these ills of the human condition. Real victory. And that's what the resurrection really means. And not only that, but it's not just good news for Jesus Christ. It's good news for everybody. And the power of the Holy Spirit is available to believing Christians. And, we can also participate in this as well. Now, so my challenge to you is, this is the kind of evidence that I want to see, right? I want to see one person on this planet who really is fused with the Holy Spirit like this, who really, really, really lives the life, This textual evidence, this kind of stuff, this is not going to convince anybody. What will convince people is if they see the power of the Holy Spirit manifest the way that the Corinthian church saw the power of the Holy Spirit manifest, right? In fact, if you look at 1 Corinthians, where Paul is using this argument, he's not arguing that Jesus Christ came back from the dead, okay? The Corinthian church already believed that, okay? The point Paul was making was quite a different point. He was basically making a postmodern explanation about the relationship between the mind and the body, but that's the subject of a different video. All right? Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. Okay, so where I live in Silicon Valley. So where I live, okay, if you are a white baby that's less than 1 year old, you have the best chance of reaching your first birthday of almost anywhere on the planet. Okay, we have the highest survival rate of white babies in this area. If you are a black baby and you are less than 1 year of age, you have one of the lowest chances of actually reaching your first birthday. Right? Our infant survival rate is lower than Cuba's here. Right? Now I'm telling you, if there was a single person in Silicon Valley who was infused with the power of the Holy Spirit, if there was one person, okay, they would day and night be complaining about this. We would be hearing about this all the time. They would be railing against us like the Old Testament prophets were railing against the ills in their society, right? This is the kind of thing that we want to see. This is evidence for the claims of Christianity, right? So this is my challenge to you, okay? Don't lose your faith, but really manifest the power of the Holy Spirit in your life, okay? Do this, come back to us, show us. Thank you very much.